今現代の詩は病気にしろあるいは交通事故にしろ、何らのドラマがない、英雄的な詩というものもない時代に我々生きております。I wanted to revive some old traditional sense of order or sense of very strong responsibility. Hierarchy sometimes makes you win.
Alright, y'all. The news just came in. Fairy Tail, the original, is coming back. Hiro Mashima seems to be very much so determined to keep the Fairy Tail franchise going. And although on the surface that might seem okay and nice and cool, I don't think it's nice, okay, and cool for new creators. I don't think so. This can be a pretty much an admission from the establishments that, you know what, these new creators, this new generation of creators, they just are incapable of creating anything iconic. This is a symbol of the death of future iconic works, you know. What you see on the screen right here is me creating a poster with the intention of making it look iconic, right? And I would say I achieved that iconic aesthetic, right? It can be used as a video game poster, as a whatever poster. It can serve many purposes, but ultimately I've now reached a distinct style where if anybody just looks at it, it can make them ponder as to like, who drew that? What is that? Who are these characters and where are they from type thing. I would say I've achieved that. I've achieved that because I've mixed and matched styles from my favorite manga artists to now have what I have. I've now built a style that can be iconic, but you see, I will not be given that approval that you do have something iconic now. I won't be given that because I'm not published by a major establishment. I'm not being pushed by an institution. I don't have a bunch of normies and freaks of nature on Twitter glazing me all the time. I have the exact opposite. People who despise me with all their heart just because I tell it like how it is. Right? People who lie and say what an amazing manga Penguin Boy is when it's a complete catastrophe. Right? You see, in this indie space, nobody can grow because no one can be honest. You have people like Don Fun pretty much catching jungle fever for Young Wavy's Holy Sack, which is a complete disaster of a manga. The sun went out, but the moon still reflecting the light. What? You know, it's ridiculous. You know, I wanted to make a video pretty much roasting Don Fun's absurdity with that review she made for Young Retard. But what's the point? It's not going to change anything. What this video is about is the fact that this is the death of future icons. And by keeping everything in a loop like this, of having former iconic works like Fairy Tail, whether you like it or not, I've always liked Fairy Tail, always have. Now in later chapters, after the Wizard Guild's tournament, yeah, things were starting to fall apart. Even in the anime, I was like, okay, maybe Mishima's tired. Something don't make sense no more, right? But I've always liked it, and I was glad that, all right, it's finally over now. Mishima did not give us, he didn't give, oh, is it Mashima? He didn't give us what we wanted. As in, make Lucy actually make it official with Natsu. No, of course he didn't, right? He had to troll until the end. I wasn't a big fan of the ending, but I was just glad that the story is finally over. And then he moved on to a new work, Eden Zero. Not a fan because he's pretty much ripping off Fairy Tail. But then again, he did rip off Rave Master to create Fairy Tail. And then he got somebody else to draw Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest. I read a little bit of that. I'm like, all right, it's cool. I mean, it's pretty much fairy tale 100%. It never ended. But now, fairy tale the original is coming back for a short while. And in my mind, I'm like, why the hell can't they just let things die? Why can't they let it just stay down, bro? It had its impact. It served a purpose to the generation coming up back then. We remember it for what it was when we were younger. Why don't you just let it be? Why do you need to continue the story of these characters? They should stay gone. It's actually unnatural to have this level of continuation. It's not natural, bro. Achilles died. There was never a sequel to Achilles. Yes, he had a son, but he completed his father's mission. And then he died. You know? Odysseus completed his mission. He died. Right? Even the Greek gods, they died in the end. You need to die. All things must have an end. It is unnatural to have this level of continuation. Dragon Ball ended with GT for me. And everybody who hates on GT, bro, you have to be really critical. Right? You have to be critical and ask yourself why. If you're going to tell me that they changed the hair or Goku was a kid, that shows me that you're cognitively impaired. You don't understand continuation. You don't understand conclusions. You don't understand anything. You're a hunchback. But for Hiro Mashima to come back and continue the main series of Fairy Tail, it's just insane, even if it's in the short term. What these people are supposed to be doing, bruh, is passing on the will of fire to the new generation, but nobody's inheriting the will of fire. Bro, I've never been to Japan. I've never shaken the hand of Hiro Mashima or Kentaro Miura or Akira Toriyama or any of the manga artists that, you know, I favor. But I can tell you right now, indeed, I have inherited the will of fire. And the proof of me inheriting it is visually, if you look at my development of my art, it shows. But mother effers with a supreme negative bias who cannot wait for Danfan to make a roast video reviewing bloody hell as a bloody disaster. They look forward to that day. That proves that you're retarded, you have a negative bias, and you can't see things for what they are. If you're going to suck the sack of Marshall and his penguin boy, it shows that you are not genuinely enjoying this because it's good, but because Marshall represents something about you that you like. He is a mirror. He is a version of you that can draw better than you. He's a terrible artist, but he's better than you, Hunchback. Right? Drag Fang. Always rubbing on Marshall's Dragon Balls, bro. It's just insane. It's just insane. Right now, I could torch the entirety of whatever Marshall is cooking over there on his sad website. Could torch all of it, but there's no point in doing that. It doesn't change anything. I got bigger fish to fry that will be deep fried soon enough. But you see, when you have disingenuous groups like what you find in the indie space, you can't develop, you can't grow, right? You can't examine, self-examine, and you can't actually properly compare your work to iconic work. You can't do it. You know, I remember interviewing Stormrave, right? I don't know if he still watches this channel, but it's sad to see that, wow, Storm, you actually sided with the retards. I thought you were logical. And I gave you props for your manga. I gave you props because I saw that there's a great sense of familiarity on your work. But for whatever reason, you also have the same negative bias towards me because of how I say things. You infantile-minded sack of trash. You're all pathetic. And you belong in the gutter. You're already there though anyway. But it's people like this. See, someone like Stormrave, who is a good artist. He's better than all of them on Marshall's website. He could develop his level higher if he was in the right crowd. But he's not. He likes feeling and knowing that I'm the best one here. Like we all know you're the best one there, bro. You would rather be the guy who shines the most in the gutter. Have filth around you. But because you shine brighter than the rest, you feel all right. That's the ego. You'd rather swim amongst the trash and forsake the potential you have to reach even greater heights. Pathetic. It's a damn sad display. But going back to Mashima's return and what this means in the bigger sense is that the Japanese artists themselves, the new ones, Fujimoto being a good example, he can say he was influenced by a certain movie that had an ending that was pretty much resetting everything and so nothing meant anything type thing. Well, he didn't execute that very well, now did he? And anyone that wants to keep defending him in that regard, that hey, he was trying to mimic that movie he watched, he was inspired by it, he didn't execute it very well. He's a retard. He's a hunchback. He's a troll, right? But above all else, he is somebody who has no real life experience. He is somebody who was lucky to be born in Japan, but has the mindset of a damn fourth world peasant. Fujimoto has the mindset of a fourth world peasant. How do I know this, or why do I say this? Because he made his main character desire the basics in life. You mean to tell me that a main character in the story no longer pursues idealism? Doesn't pursue the goal of being Hokage, Pirate King, or the strongest, but dude just wants peanut butter and jelly? He wants to be rubbing off on some hussies? Nigga, if you're a Hokage, you're getting all the hoes. If you're the strongest, you're getting all the hoes automatically anyway. But we don't need you to tell us that you want to be the strongest for the sake of the hoes. You want to be the strongest so you can have all the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Because if that's the only driving factor, you are a sad sack of trash. Fujimoto is a fourth world, peasant-minded freak of nature that somehow wormed his way into Shonen Jump, and the retards over there allowed him to publish that garbage. From the very beginning, I said Chainsaw Man sucks. Part 1 sucks. Y'all made it seem like it was gonna go somewhere, that Denji perhaps is going to grow. He was so down bad, he wanted a decent basic life. Bruh, who the hell wants a decent basic life? If you have a 9 to 5, you have a basic decent life. This is regression. This is pure regression of the human species. Back to the dark ages, I used to say. We're here. We're here now. The fact that, man, you gotta keep arguing with a bunch of mongoloids running around in the comment section or wherever who have no qualification to be talking about anything. They just want to run their mouth. They have no proper context to anything. They just want to run their mouth. Bruh, it's tiring. But again, anyway, going back to the Mashima thing, these young creators like Fujimoto, they have no life experience. They have no ideals to pursue. Now, we can say, well, there's a perfectly good reason for why this is the case. Ever since the economic crash that happened in Japan in the 90s, things were never the same again. There has been stagnation for the last 30, 5 years in Japan. Japan peaked in the late 80s and in the early 90s crashed and remained stagnant ever since. And I do believe it is true that if, let's say, if your father graduated in Japan, your father graduated in Japan high school, then the economic crash happened. He saw his own father jump off a building because all of his assets got wiped out. And then he himself, all of the hopes and dreams he had are gone. The company that he wanted to work for went under, right? And, well, there's no sense of security and certainty as there once was. Now he finds himself just working a basic job. Then he finds himself, well, getting somebody pregnant, whether he marries that woman or not. But ultimately, an 18-year-old witnessing a gigantic crash that leads to a cultural shift in the psychology of the people at the time, that person who experiences that trauma and then decides to bust deep inside of a female and get her pregnant, that child born, right, will inherit that trauma. That child will inherit that trauma. There will be some psychological issue or natural disposition, thanks to genetic inheritance, to somewhat be depressed, to be somewhat down bad, to lack the desire to go beyond. That actually does happen, especially here in all third world places. Sometimes you wonder, I've wondered, why these parents are down bad and jacked and sitting under a tree and drinking the liquor bottle, and so are the children. Why? How is this the case? How is it that the children never want to go beyond what their parents could? They inherited it. They inherited it. Now you can ask, well, what makes me so different? In my case, I wasn't born in the forest, right? In my case, I wasn't born to parents who had parents that were completely down bad, right? And if I trace back the lineage, just like my great grandmother, there was something else there that just then created a natural disposition for me to actually be ambitious and idealistic. But tracing it just to my parents alone, the time frame was they were in a time where, yes, it was apartheid, but there was certainty and guarantees. The white man might have segregated everybody, but he established structures and orders that if you are qualified, you can get the job. So, if my parents then see that commitment to studying can equal improvement of life, what does that do for their psychology? It makes it positive. It makes them idealistic. How far can I go through this system, through the circumstance? How far can I go? Right? So they were in a healthy state of mind despite being under the foot of the white man they like to claim, right? Under the foot, but they were still in a better state of mind. Then when I came along, I inherited that good state of mind that they were in, making me more ambitious than they were. Now then, unfortunately, reality comes in, is that when Mandela came out and he decided to let the niggas in and open the borders, well, all hell broke loose. And the promises that were once given by Nelson Mandela and his friends of what this country could be and what a born-free generation that I fall into could be, all of that was completely disemboweled. So despite me being in a situation where there is no future, it's over, I inherited a mindset and a psyche that has a natural disposition to want to go beyond, right? In Fujimoto's case, maybe when I was describing his father, seeing his father, Fujimoto's father, seeing his father jump off a building because of the crash and whatnot. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but it's a possibility, right? That all the children born in the 90s, right, from parents who witnessed the crash and the cultural shift in Japan, right, most likely inherited the hopelessness. They inherited the sense of hopelessness, the grief, the anguish, the stagnation. And then there were not enough opportunities, I suppose. And I honestly want to say there's no way that there were not enough opportunities. But here we are. I guess there were not enough opportunities. Well, the opportunity to experience life where there was a guaranteed accomplishment awaiting you. Now, people want to blame capitalism and whatnot. Like, bro, I don't understand people who blame capitalism. Blame globalization, right? Blame globalization, or just blame God, right? Just blame him. It's like, you know what, Lord, it's actually all your fault. No, it's not my fault, it's the devil's fault. Well, who let the devil run loose? Right? So, if God is there, blame him. But that's like blaming the wind. So, if anything, you can't blame anyone. It's just the way things are. At the end of the day, though, Fujimoto should have done more, or should have tried to have more life experiences outside of his bubble. He should have tried to live his life outside of his bubble, because Denji was in a bubble all the time, right? Fujimoto clearly was in a bubble all the time. So these types of creators, they can't create anything iconic. They can't do it. Hiro Mashima, Kishimoto, Toriyama, Kentaro, they come from a generation where there was still an established belief that there is certainty and hope, and that there was a bright future ahead. This is why their characters could go beyond, break their limits, defy fate, as Guts has continuously defied fate. Ichigo continuously fought against fate, only then to, well, be in service of it. But it actually makes sense if you look at it from the Buddhist perspective, right? So, honestly, this generation cannot go beyond. This generation cannot create anything iconic. And the establishments are seeing that. I don't know if it's Kodansha that knocked on Hiro Mishima's door as to like, hey man, you need to come back. These dudes don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I don't think so. But either way, somebody noticed that this generation doesn't know what the hell they're doing. This generation is growing up in a bubble. They have no life experience. They feel no need to go beyond. They feel no need. What's the need to go beyond? What's the reason to go beyond anyway? Goku went beyond because he had to fight Majin Buu. Who is our Majin Buu right now? There isn't any. Fake wars, right? That are just there to spike your cortisol level. Fake wars that can never be won, that can never be stopped. Endless bad news of Disney doing this and that, spiking your cortisol. You can never fix those problems. You can never defeat. We're basically fighting a ghost. It's Majin Buu, but a ghost. He's bombing that place. He's bombing that place. But you can never land a single punch on him. You can never catch him, contain him, kill him, find him, see him. You only hear the effects of him being around. It's sad. Look, man, I did create something iconic. Bloody Hell is iconic. and y'all can sit and hate and say, no, it's not. You're not qualified to tell me, yes, it is or not. You're not qualified, especially if you're not a producer. You're not qualified. These internet mother suckers who just sit there and hate or suck off people just because they have the same despicable personality as them, you're not a critic that we ought to listen to. You're not. So this is the death of iconic works. Never again will it ever come to be. Invincible could have been something iconic, but then it decided to double down on the gore and violence. Robert Kirkman himself decided to inject DEI trash into the animated version. Season 4 of Invincible is jacked. That thing is popular because of the violence and all the celebrities voice acting the characters. What the hell was that episode about when Invincible and the demon guy went to hell and they spoke about how hell can exist but heaven cannot? What are you're breaking cosmic law of duality. It cannot be just one. You're breaking the cosmic laws of duality. It's retarded. And then depending on your worldview, how you dissect that, you'd call it satanic and whatnot. But I'm saying it's just retarded. You're breaking cosmic law. Duality is the foundation of reality. It just is. There can't be just one without the other. There cannot be just light and no dark, day and no night. If there was only day, everything would burn up to a crisp. Right? There's got to be a balance. If it was just night, everything would freeze over. There's got to be a balance. So, if authors themselves like Kirkman are retardifying their own works that is now in an animated version, bruh, seriously, it's over. There's nothing that can be iconic. I will never be given the flowers or the thumbs up that, you know what, you do have something iconic. The visual style has turned into something very noticeable, blah, blah. It'll never happen. They'll say you're egotistic for saying such things and whatnot. So we're stuck here out of the establishment's pipeline. And hey, you don't want to be there anyway. But I suppose it can be demoralizing knowing that, damn, even if I got all the hot sauce, nobody wants it. They would rather have works of old on constant repeat with bull crap injected into it. I can imagine Fairy Tail coming back and there's a horde of niggas running around in that manga, right? Natsu discovers that he's actually a Negro and Lucy actually comes from a massive family of the Islamic Empire. Always using black people and Muslims as props, to reconfigure nations and ideas and whatnot to make them a certain way. Yeah, this is the death of all things iconic. There won't be anything iconic in the future anymore. This is what you have to accept. This is the reality. And the people online are definitely not going to give you your flowers. They're going to want to disagree with you, hate on you, and say you're out of your mind. You're insane. You're full of yourself. But they can sit there and rub the chest of Marshall and say his stuff is iconic. Penguin Boy is amazing. Holy Ark is amazing. You lying pieces of trash. You're liars, bro. And that's why things fail. That's why things stay stagnant. Because you keep uplifting bullshit. That's why. You're just like the savages in Africa. They will kill the guy who has proper potential. They will kill the guy trying to build a tennis court in the community. They will kill the guy trying to clean up the mess in the community and uplift the freak of nature. Because the freak of nature represents them. They will vote for the freak to be their president because the freak represents them. They will not vote for the good guy. Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso was murdered by his own best friend. Thomas Sankara lived what he was preaching. That listen, as politicians, as leaders, we got to eat last. We cannot enrich ourselves like that. Let us first focus on developing the nation before we eat as leaders. Let's direct the returns, the resources in uplifting the nation. Dude got killed by his best friend. No justice. His so-called best friend has been alive for the past 50, 60 years, and it's only 2-3 years ago that now they want to press charges on the murder of Thomas Sankara. That's a nigger for you. That's a hunchback for you. That's a piece of shit for you. Burkina Faso is still nowhere. They got that psychopath Traore right now, making him seem like he's the African Messiah. Like, nigga, no, you're not. You're just a Russian, North Korean communist proxy. You're nothing but an ice boy. You're not self-sufficient. You're being funded by a superpower, which is Russia. You can't fund yourself. Where the hell did Traore get money to buy France out of Burkina Faso? Where'd you get that money, nigga? Who the heck are you? Where'd you get the money? Who gave you the money? They're never going to talk about that. So look, in terms of the future and what we hoped for with this manga thing, it's gone. It's non-existent. Now you got to supply your product to your fans. And you can say, well, that's what Marshall is doing, isn't it? So what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with him supplying his product to his fans. All I'm saying is that, one, all his product is low quality, right? Two, the people quote unquote supporting are being disingenuous because they suck him off to such a biblical degree. It's as if he has created the next Dragon Ball, bro, and that's so far from the truth. You sucking off somebody to that degree, bro, you're disingenuous. You have no ability to be critical about what's wrong with Penguin Boy. But yet people are so quick to be critical about what's wrong with me as a person, what's wrong with my website, what's wrong with the people on my website and whatnot. They need to run to Don Fon and ask her to make a review of Bloody Hell. Why don't you make a review of Bloody Hell? Why don't you make a video and tell people how bad it is, how mediocre it is, how useless it is? Why don't you do it? You don't have the ability to articulate your worthless thoughts? Seems like it. Seems like it. You mentally ill, retarded mother effers. You got nowhere else to go. I keep the whole indie space alive. I am the indie space. You understand me? If I disappear, you all disappear. Y'all gonna keep what? Don Fon's video of roasting me is the highest viewed video on her whole channel. I am the indie space. Not you, not her, me. Make a video about me and you will get 10,000 views. Guaranteed. Do it. I am the beginning and I am the last. I am the first and the last. Right? The alpha and the omega up in here. Whether you like it or not, bro, I am this space. And without me, you don't exist. Wavy doesn't exist anymore. He doesn't. Where is he? He don't exist. He doesn't exist. So if y'all prefer a cemetery, because if I leave, this place is a cemetery, no problem. No problem, bro. Y'all enjoy eating and sucking on maggots here and there, you petty worms. No problem. I'm going to start, working my way out. I'm going to start working my way out to find something more sustainable so I don't have to deal with a bunch of zombies in the cemetery that just want to eat worms and rodents all day long. I am the indie space. And I did create something iconic. And I have given the opportunity to other people to rise along with me. Right? But that opportunity is closed now. Permanently. Unless you are extremely exceptional. But I'm telling you now, I have permanently closed the gates of being part of Coffee Originals. There will never again be submissions open. Never again. Unless you are extremely exceptional. You can try your luck, knock at the door. I'm like, hey man, I got product. But I'm telling you, bro, I will only accept something truly exceptional. I'm not interested in developing people's skills anymore or helping you grow. I'm not interested in that. Because the people who wanted to grow, they came when I opened the door day one. What were you waiting for? What were you waiting for? So, whatevs. There will never again be anything iconic. It is what it is. Even though I say I created something iconic, I got dudes who are making something iconic, right? Who have a distinct style on their stuff, on the website. The world is not going to give us our flowers or their respect. It's not. It's not. So now we will just sustain the brethren. The brethren who are part of the coffee tribe, who are looking for something proper, idealistic, positive, and inspirational. The brethren will be sustained. But you zombies who just want to come and feed off a little bit here and there all the time, y'all can just keep doing what you're doing. You can keep doing what you're doing. But I think the Japanese see that, yeah, there ain't nothing iconic that's going to be coming from this new generation anymore. And if Netflix knocked at my door and be like, yo, you got something cool over here, let's give you a contract. Guys, we all know that they're going to want to change a few things and not make it iconic anymore. They're going to want to make some characters bisexual or put some other DEI quotas in there. We know this. If Robert Kirkman himself injected DEI trash himself in his own creation just to keep up with the status quo of everything in the mainstream must be DEI adjacent, man, come on, bruh. Come on. It's the death of everything iconic right now. So, oh well, I'm gonna still keep working. I'm gonna finish my story. I have actually arrived at the halfway point of the idea of the story. I have, with the new chapter 31, it's 50 pages, and it's pretty much the halfway point of the story. And it felt real good getting there. And only a few people are going to care about what that feeling actually is like. The others are just going to be, they're just going to have that fluoride stare, bro. Like, huh? What did he say? He hasn't said anything that I can attack. He spoke about Marshall. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna attack that. Yeah, I want to go to Discord about what he said about Marshall, but I don't know what else he said because you're a fucking retard. You're a goddamn retard. You're an animal that should not be allowed to run loose, who shouldn't even be on the internet. But whatevs. I'm gonna finish my story, and when I'm done, it's time to move on to other things, man. It's time to move on. I'm working my way out. Don't worry. I'm not gonna stay in this graveyard sustaining you mother suckers, you freeloaders on YouTube forever. Hell no. I'm gonna work my way out. I'm gonna work my way out. Because you just cannot win on YouTube. You cannot. You can crucify yourself so the idiots can like you, but you'll be dead. You'll be scarred. And they will just make a meme out of you. Bunch of retards. All y'all hating on Coffee Comics, you need me, bro. You need me. Donphon needs me. Sinverse needed me. You need me. Without my name in your mouth, you don't exist. Plain and simple. That's been proven who knows how many times at this point. But eventually, I'll be out of here too. Keep drawing for those who are drawing. If you know that you are not at B rank level artwork, right? Don't bother, please, submitting on Coffee Originals. I'm only accepting B rank and up. Oh, you got C and D rank in your website right now. Yeah, that's when the door was open. It's your fault that you were not prepared when the door was open. And now you're going to stay locked out. You're going to stay locked out. Go knock at Marshall's door. Maybe they still open. Be a part of that trash over there. And y'all can sing Kumbaya together. But here, we are purists and we are ultra strict and we will finish our work. And we have something to say. You people who just want to make friends online and chill on Discord and eat your snacks, go to Marshall. Go to Donphon. And chill with them. Go to Art Crumbs. Go to all these losers who have nothing to offer humanity. Go there. Go. Because that's where you belong. If you're not B rank and up, don't bother. Don't bother. Because I know most of you would not even want to go through the Onsulgo bridging program. You won't. You won't. Entitled, freeloading people who want to be part of something but offer nothing. We don't owe you anything. But above all else, we don't need new people anymore. We have enough. Less is more. We have our Spartans, and we will hold the line. That's all there is to it.